I believe we all have a purpose in life, and not a random one. I do believe God created us with intention, meaning, and direction. And yet, one of the most common questions people ask today, quietly or out loud, is this: if God gave me a purpose, then what is mine? See, that question is precisely why this podcast exists. See, the purpose isn't about giving you a checklist. It's not about telling you what job to chase, what title to wear, or what lane to stay in. Because what it is, purpose, is not a script God hands you all at once. Purpose is something revealed as you walk and not before you move. See, the problem with us is this: most of the time, as humans, we don't wait to discover our purpose. We try to design it ourselves. See, what we do is choose what we think our purpose should look like. We decide what sounds impressive, what feels successful, and what gets attention, and what makes sense to us. And then we have the nerves to ask God to bless what we already picked. But see, the truth is, God doesn't create purpose based on our preferences. He creates purpose in accordance with His plan. See, there's a difference between a purpose you choose and a purpose you're called into. One is driven by control, and the other requires surrender. And so waiting on God's purpose is hard because waiting feels like a delay. Silence feels like a rejection. And obedience without answers feels risky. So what do we end up doing? We end up rushing. We force clarity. We'll grab a label. And we chase outcomes, not realizing that while we're busy choosing a purpose, God may already be shaping us for the one He given. See, purpose isn't something you invent. It's something you uncover over time. And see, sometimes the most significant tension isn't finding your purpose, it's trusting God's timing with it. And see, that's what the purpose is about. Learning to let go of the version we created so we can walk into the one God already prepared for us. And this is something a lot of people struggle with, figuring out their purpose. And this isn't something I learned overnight. This is something I struggled with for a long time. And honestly, I say at least 36 years. And since this podcast is about honesty, let me be honest. Let me say this plainly. I didn't wait for my purpose. I forced it. See, I tried to decide what my life was going to be like and what it's supposed to mean. I chased versions of purpose that looked good on the outside. I attached purpose to roles, titles, relationships, and outcomes, thinking if I could just be the right thing and do the right thing, then I'd finally feel whole. So instead of being patient, I forced my purpose. I decided what I thought my life should look like or what it was supposed to be like. I thought my purpose was to be an actor, to have my own business, and to be an artist, or to be a bodybuilder. And let me tell you something real fast. Every one of those things I forced failed, and failed quickly. And it wasn't because those things were bad, not because effort was wrong, but because they were my purpose and not God's. I was chasing identity instead of receiving direction. I was building without being sent. See, I wanted a purpose to confirm me instead of letting God transform me. And when you force a purpose God did not give you, it won't last. Because your strength is yours, not His. It is His holding it up. See, looking back, I don't see wasted years. I see misplaced urgency. See, God wasn't withholding purpose from me. He was protecting me from stepping into something I wasn't even ready to carry. And that's the part we don't like. We think delay means denial, but sometimes delay is mercy. And maybe that's where you are right now. Not behind, but just real early. And let's take this a little further. Sometimes God doesn't even reveal our purpose until tragedy hits, or until after it does. See, and that's the hard to hear, because none of us wants pain to be part of the process, but often it's in the moments that break us. See, that we finally stop forcing, stop pretending, and stop running. Tragedy has a way of stripping us down to what's real. It removes the mask, it silences the noise, it humbles the part of us that thought we knew better. And in that space, when life doesn't make sense anymore, the purpose starts to shift. And it's not into something flashy, not into something impressive, but into something meaningful. And sometimes your purpose isn't revealed before the pain because you wouldn't recognize it yet. You'll chase it for the wrong reasons. You'll carry it with the wrong heart. Pain doesn't create purpose, but it can clarify it. And maybe that's why so many people discover their calling after loss, after failure, after disappointment, after things fall apart. And it's not because God caused the tragedy, but because tragedy slowed us down enough to listen. Unfortunately, that's when my purpose was finally revealed to me. And it wasn't in a moment of celebration, not when things were going right, but when life hit me in a way I couldn't avoid. I couldn't explain it, and I couldn't fix it. See, that's when everything I had forced fell silent. And in that silence, I finally listened. And I didn't hear the answer the way I wanted to. I didn't get clarity all at once, but I did get direction. And what I realized was this, something that changed everything. My purpose wasn't about becoming more impressive. It was about becoming more obedient. What I thought was the end of my story was the moment God stripped away everything. That wasn't mine to carry. And I wouldn't wish that season on anyone. But I also can't deny what it produced in me. See, sometimes God let us lose what we were holding on to so we can finally receive what He's been holding for us. And if you're listening right now from a place of loss, grief, or confusion, this doesn't mean your purpose is gone. It may be the first time you're ready to see it clearly. So let me share a story with you, because what this woman said was so true. And it's one of the reasons I'm including this. Some of you may recognize her and some of you may not. Her name was Miss Sherry. She is a person on social media who is well known. Her name was Miss Shirley. She was well known for feeding people experiencing homelessness. That was her purpose. Not something she talked about, something she lived. Unfortunately, she passed away, if you haven't heard or seen on TikTok. See, I was scrolling one day when I came across an interview she had given. And what the interview asked was a simple question. Why do you do this? Her answer stopped me dead in my track. She says she did it out of her trauma and pain. She shared that what she had lost her young son, not going into every detail, but enough to understand the weight of it. See, a tragic accident, a moment that changed her life forever, and instead of letting that pain destroy her, she allowed it to shape her compassion. She didn't say the pain was good. She didn't say it made sense. But what she did say is it gave birth to a purpose. And that's the part that stayed with me. Her purpose didn't come before the tragedy. It came after. She says she would stay with me. She says she wanted a purpose for her pain. She knew she couldn't get rid of the pain. She wasn't pretending it would ever disappear. She wasn't even trying to sugarcoat it, but she said if she could find a purpose for it, it would at least begin to make sense. And that's what hit me, because that's the place so many of us live in. Not trying to erase what happened, not asking God to rewind time, just trying to understand why we're still here after it. See, she didn't say purpose healed the pain. She said purpose gave the meaning. And there's a difference. Purpose doesn't remove the scar. It gives the scar a voice. It turns survival into service. It turns grief into compassion. It turns loss into love poured outward. And that's when I realized something about my own story. I wasn't looking for pain to disappear. I wasn't even looking for a reason it didn't destroy me. I was looking for a reason it didn't destroy me. Sometimes purpose isn't about feeling better. It's about making what hurts you help someone else live. See, and if you're listening right now, carrying pain you didn't ask for, this isn't God telling you to move on. This is God reminding you that even here, your life still matters. So if you're listening right now and you're still asking, what is my purpose? Maybe the question isn't what you're meant to do, but who is your life meant to help? Maybe your purpose isn't hiding in the future. Maybe it's forming quietly. In the places that hurt the most, you didn't choose the pain, you didn't ask for the loss, but you're still here, and that matters. See, purpose doesn't always come wrapped in clarity. Sometimes it comes wrapped in survival. Sometimes it shows up after everything else falls apart. It's not to explain the pain, but to make sure it wasn't wasted. So do not rush the process. Don't force the outcome. Don't measure your purpose by how impressive it looks to others. Measure it this way. Does your story help someone else? And if it does, you're not behind, you're not forgotten, and you're not finished yet. See, hope is still here because your story didn't stop. Even though it hurt you, pain may have changed you, loss may have slowed you down, and disappointment may have shaken what you thought your life would look like. But see, none of those things had the authority to end your purpose. And renewal is still possible because God doesn't require a perfect past to create a meaningful future. He works with what's left. He rebuilds from the pieces. He brings life out of places that felt buried. So hope is here because you're still standing, even if you're tired, even if you're unsure, even if you're still healing. And renewal doesn't mean erasing what happened. It means learning how to live again after it. It means your pain doesn't get the final word. Your mistakes don't get the final word. Your worst season doesn't get the final word. God specializes in renewal, not by pretending the damage never happened, but by restoring purpose in the middle of it. I want to say thank you for tuning in. This was the episode called The Purpose. If you do like it, will you please share it, comment, leave a review, and we will see you next time.